everybody, Alan Barnosky here with a lesson for Acoustic Guitar Magazine. Today we are looking at the tune Soldier's Joy, and I've actually got two versions of the tune for you. One is a relatively easy way to go about playing the tune. Another one is a lot more difficult, but I'm going to be presenting both of them. And then later in the video, what I'd like to do is also share ideas that you can use to kind of merge the two together, to come up with one that's kind of somewhere in between, that's slightly more complicated than the easy version, but is a little bit simpler than the really difficult one. So, you could play it faster, more confidently, what have you. But anyway, we'll get into all that. What I'd like to do is just play through example one. This is that easier version of the tune. You can find it in Acoustic Guitar Magazine if you don't have that tab in front of you, so go check that out. Here we go. This is example one. All right, so before moving on to example two, there's a few things I want to talk about here. The first thing is that it is entirely downstrokes. Every note lands on a beat. It's either quarter notes or half notes, so everything's landing on the beats of the measure. So you're going to be using downstrokes. This, I guess to explain this a little bit more, the concept behind what we're doing is alternating picking, where downstrokes in your right hand, they land on the beats. In the next example, we will be seeing a lot of upstrokes, and those are landing in between the beats. But that's not happening here. So I'll just play through it. See what I mean. These are all downstrokes. All right. So throughout the entire example one, all downstrokes. Another thing that I want to talk about here is the left hand. In that A part, you can basically just kind of grab a C chord and hold on to it and let the notes kind of ring and sustain, and it's going to sound really nice that way, in my opinion. All right, just hold that C chord. You're going to have to move it here. I use my third finger. All right, and then lift off to get that open note, but then otherwise you just go back to that C chord. Some people, when they're new to playing this style of music, they want to pick every single note and kind of cut it short. Sorry. Like that kind of thing. It usually doesn't sound as good in my opinion. It might work sometimes for certain effects that you're trying to get, but most of the time I like to let the notes ring out. All right, so that kind of covers the example one. I guess the other thing I do want to mention is it might seem really easy for a lot of folks out there. However, I think there's a lot of value with memorizing it, being able to play it, from memory, forwards and backwards and in your sleep and all that kind of thing. Being able to just kind of really let that melody sink in and being able to play it well is going to help as you start to learn more kind of complicated ways to play the tune, which is what we're going to do now. This is example two. All right, I'll just go ahead and play it, and then we'll talk about it a little bit afterwards. Here we go. All right. So there it is. As you can see, that's a lot more difficult to play. There's a lot going on in that. The main thing that's going on here in this A part is cross picking. So, like I said before, alternating picking means downstrokes on those down beats. So let's just say we're using it on a single string, like the G string. It just kind of look like that. All right, so down, up, down, up, down, up. And what's happening in that, in this example 2 in the A part is we're doing that motion, but across the strings. All right, so down, up, 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 down. Okay, so you're gonna wanna keep those downs and ups in order, so you're landing with those downstrokes on the beat. That's what's gonna give you drive and power and just kind of really make the music sound natural. Give it like a bouncy kind of pulse to it. But yeah, that's a difficult thing to do. So take it slow. Again, you can just kind of hold that C chord shape as you're doing it. Yeah, so that's the A part of this tune. The B part has a somewhat different challenge, and it's around the slide that happens. All right, so there's the slide where I go from the first position up to the third position. And the slide in of itself is, you know, it is what it is. It's not that difficult. But the difficult thing here is what you do in the picking hand. You're gonna end up with 2 upstrokes in a row. Down, up, down, up, up. Down, up, down, up, up. And the reason for that is the slide happens where there would be a downstroke. So in order to keep that alternating picking kind of where it's supposed to be, you're gonna have to skip that downstroke and then do another upstroke. All right, so that's another little tricky spot here. The most difficult thing, in my opinion, with example 2 is being able to play it at the speeds that people play this tune at. Soldier's Joy is almost always played fast, and it's really hard to play example 2 like really fast. It's even hard to play it just kind of like at a moderate tempo. So this is where the mixing and matching kind of comes in. You could just play example 1. That's fine. I do it all the time if I'm playing with people who are doing it really, really fast, right? But you can also take elements of example 2 and insert it into example 1. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of do that. I'll just kind of demonstrate it, and then I'll talk a little bit about what's going on here. All right, so that's brought elements from example 1 and example 2, brought both of them together. What I'm going to do is I'll play the same thing, but I'll just call out 1 or 2, referring to either one of those examples. So we'll start with 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, so that's just an idea. You can put it together any number of ways. Something kind of like that, you know, bringing just different pieces together. It's really, I think this is really kind of where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. It's like, you got to do this on your own. I could just put together example 3 and send it out there too, but I think the real value is you kind of working this out on your own and coming up with your own arrangements. That's really going to help when it comes down to, you know, playing these tunes on the fly. Maybe it's slower and you can do more from example 2. Maybe it's really fast and you can really just only squeeze out mostly example 1. It's a difficult thing to work out, but I think with some practice, you come up with something good. Let me know how it goes. Drop a comment below, send me an email. Would love to hear from you. And that's most of what I've got to do today. I hope you enjoy this lesson and let us know what you think. All right, we'll see you later.